This is the Better Life, Better Work Show, and I'm your host, Allison Crow. I'm a life and self-leadership coach for authentic and ambitious small business owners and professionals. I show up here in your ears as a transparent leader doing the same inner and outer work that you are. I'm here to remind you that you're probably a gardener and not a machine, and that soft, sustainable, and soulful success is actually available to you on your own terms. Emotional presence and wellness are also available to you as someone who juggles both an amazing business and a beautiful life. I'm here to remind you that more is not better, better is better. Hello, soulful business owners. There are all kinds of business owners out there. And as long as people are ethical, I don't think there's anything wrong with the different kinds of business owners. And I want to share an insight, especially for you heart-centered business owners who also want to do well in your business. I started out being a coach whose primary job was to help people make money. My job was production. How do I help agents and other coaches produce income? Creating income has been healing and saving. I remember one of my coaches very early on, I said, it's not about the money. And she says, it is about the money. So please know, I am not bagging on building big financial businesses. I am not bagging on having financial goals. And I want to share something with you so that you can do a focus check. I spoke with a good friend and colleague the other morning. I adore him. I've known him for a long time, and he's one of the colleagues that is a friend and supports me, and we chat from time to time. And I told him that I was not renewing with my coach next year and that I was kind of looking, I'm looking for where I want to land. And with so much excitement, he told me a little bit about a new coach that he's working with, a new community he's involved with. Another one of our friends is joining. They're going to ask another one of our friends to join. And I was on a walk, and it was hard to talk and listen and walk and get more information. And so I was like, yeah, I'd love to be invited to one of these things that has a free ticket, etc. And we left it at that. And later that afternoon, I began digging back into the focus of the work that I do. The vehicle for the work that I do is coaching and a business. But the work that I do is around helping people cultivate a self-led life around authenticity, self-compassion, resilience, profound engagement, profound rest, centered peace, play, laughter, helpful habits, courage in sales, courage in their business. So my clients are business owners. I know business. My clients know the how-to of business. They know how to. Here's how I know they know how to, because they've all sold at least one thing. And so they can duplicate that. And yes. So I work 80% on the inner work with my clients and helping my clients cultivate the being and energy and emotions and habits and attitudes. I help them see sometimes what they can't see so that they can cultivate a better life. That's what I market to. Yes, has it helped people create financial success? Absolutely. Okay, so this is what happened. This is what happened. We were finishing watching the final season of The Sopranos. I think we actually had just finished it. My husband and I recently watched it, and he was ready to go to bed, but I was reading on my new Christmas present, my Paperwhite Kindle. And I was really excited because it doesn't hurt my eyes. I can see it at night. I can increase the font. And I had my journal out, and I'm reading the book, The Language of Emotions, What Your Feelings Are Trying to Tell You by Carla McLaren right now. And I was reading slowly, and I was thinking about my own life, and I was in self-awareness, and just normally I go to bed at 9:00. My husband went to bed early at 8. It's 9:00. I'm wide awake. We turn off the TV, and I've got my book and my journal and my book and my journal. And out of habit, I paused and picked up my phone and put down my pen and my journal. I'm laying in bed, and I text my friend and I said, "Hey, what's the name of the coach that you were telling me about? I would like to research him." And so he told me the name. And on my little phone, I search. And up came a man that helps people build $1 million coaching businesses, which I think is very valid. And as I read, I saw that he has a book called The $1 Million Coach. So that's what his service is. He's helping people build businesses to $1 million revenue streams. And that probably gets him really excited. And as I was looking at it, my energy just went down, 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 down. And I didn't judge it as, oh, this is horrible, I don't want it. I was just like, yeah, this is not for me. This is not what I want. This is not what gets me excited. And I went to go to Goodreads, which I'm like, hello, new to that, total nerd, loving it. And I went to go to Goodreads to look at reviews of his book before I decided if I wanted to buy his book and look at it and research him. See if it was something that my energy and my essence, see if it smelled in alignment with me. And there was a guy on Goodreads. Sorry for the pause there. There was a guy on Goodreads that had kind of said, here's his book. These are my takeaways. And I read all those takeaways. And honestly, they were all extremely familiar, nothing new to me. I've been coaching for 18 years. I've been exposed to a lot. I started out as a business building coach. I've taken all the online courses, And yet I was also trusting my friend, like his resonance and curious. And I just had the experience of like being very neutral in my body. Not really my guy. And I picked back up my book and my journal, and I was just so excited about the work. And in that moment, let's see what I wrote down. In that moment, Allison, so I'm not saying you have to agree with me. I'm just getting you to notice a distinction. I, Allison, am not passionate about building a 7-figure business. And sure, I would love to grow my income and my wealth. I might love to grow to a 7-figure business. I certainly would love to increase my income and my wealth. In fact, increasing my income and my wealth is important to me. Am I passionate about it? Am I energized by it? And I think back to 18 years ago when I first started working for myself, and I had all these financial goals. First of all, I did have some financial pressures, right? Like I was married and living in a house in Central Austin. And when my husband left, and I told him, however this turns out, I'm keeping the house and the dogs. So that meant that I had to create $2,400 a month plus living expenses to keep the house. And so I did. So I wrote, I'm not passionate about building a 7-figure business. I would love to grow my income and my wealth, of course. Okay. These are not mutually exclusive. The key is, what's the focus? I wrote, I am passionate about coaching business owners to emotional sovereignty, self-trust, and self-leadership. Internal families, emotional management, emotional language, working with mindset, emotions, habits, the way we see ourselves, identity, belief. This stuff gets me out of the bed in the morning. Now, if you're not energized in your business, my friend Christina Berkeley had posted something earlier that day, and I thought it was so funny. I actually shared it on Instagram. But she said, fall in love with your work again. And that will solve all your marketing problems. And she's right, for my kind of people, for me and my kind of people. Okay. So when I focus on the work, my clients, sharing my heart, showing my work, learning my work, embodying my work, and when that's the focus, I am inspired to build my business and to make offerings and to help people, and it increases my income. When I focus on what energizes me according to my personal values, I focus on the work and the business gets better. For some people, they are energized by the idea or the goal of building a business, of hitting a particular milestone, of filling the thermometer. You know how like in fundraisers or in sales offices, there's a thermometer about a certain amount of revenue or donations or whatever. I have a friend that I love and adore that had a very specific financial goal for his family and his life to provide a lifestyle. And in this, that goal energized him, and building the machine that fulfilled the goal was energizing to him. He invited me along the way. And the amount of money was not enough to lure me away from what I love. If you are in the online space every single day, so whether you're a coach or a photographer or an artist, whatever you're selling, any kind of service or product. Now, I'm not saying the only thing you have to do is love your offering, okay? But loving your offering is the biggest energizer and fastest propeller of your path towards building a business that gives you revenue that feels really safe, supportive, prosperous, wealthy. And what I see people doing, because it's offered all around us, is the primary focus is on building the 7-figure business. It used to be the 6-figure business. Sure, there's a few things that there's a few how-tos or a few systems you could set in place. And what I have come to know after watching and being and talking with colleagues and coaches and learning is that I'm going to go on a limb here. I haven't tested this hypothesis, but one of them is that no system lasts forever. Nothing is ever evergreen. You still have to promote something evergreen. And many of my clients are, what I know is that you're losing focus by making the focus be about how much money you make instead of about the work. You're diluting your work and your power to make money. And so I was talking with a client this the other day, and she was like, I know what you're going to say. You're saying if I focus on the work. And I said, focusing on the work doesn't mean that you don't focus on the money, but focus on the work in a way that serves your money focus versus focus on building the business. When all that energy is there and you haven't hit your goals, it's easier to be exhausted than it is when you're focusing on the work and the things you're truly passionate about doing and helping in your genius. Then what will happen is the opportunity to grow beyond the scale that you are will present to you the problems that will help you implement the systems to actually build your business. But too many people are building a business or they're paying $1 gazillion to build this 7-figure business like Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Performance versus creativity. Performance versus creativity. For those of you that are performance driven, I adore you. Sometimes I totally envy you because I'm not able to put down my other values on behalf of performance. So I'm those of you who get off on, I'm going to set a goal of $1 million and I'm going to hit it. That's fantastic. I have clients who may have a goal to get $1 million and they'll focus on that to prove something, to heal a wound in themselves, to be enough. And it dilutes the work and it dilutes the revenue and it dilutes the service. And so my business building focus check today is readjust your focus and your priorities. Again, in no way, I'm not asking you to not focus on making money. I'm not asking you to ignore money. I love money. I love what money does for me. I have some notes from a coaching call yesterday, and I had a client that said there were some things that I said, Christina, I just mentioned you in this podcast. I mentioned you. Christina is in the comments right now in the live recording of this podcast. Focus on the work and the joy will come. And I get that focusing on the work helps some people. I do not need that. What I need is a coach who will help me remember how much I love my work, because when I love my work, I do all the things I already know how to do to build $1 million business. So I had a client the other day talking about feeling like she didn't have enough money. I said, what do you need money for? She said, retreats, help around the house, savings account, and to help my spouse get out of the corporate world. Okay. And a lot of us stop thinking that's this way. And so then I asked her, I said, what is the essence of what retreats will give you? Rest and freedom. What will help give you? Time and extra bandwidth, she said. I said, what will savings account give you? She said, a sense of safety. And I said, what will getting your spouse out of the corporate world give you? And she said, vitality. And I said, so really what your goals are rest, freedom, time, bandwidth, safety, and vitality. And she was like, oh. And this is something I learned way back in real estate days. It's like, I want a fence around the house. Nobody wants a fence around their house, but what they want is their dogs to be safe, or their kids to be safe in their yard, or they want the boundary, right? So when you think about what you want, what is the having of that thing you want? As you go into the end of the year and you think about setting your goals, a lot of times these goals, I had a memory came up the other day and it was like, I want $1 million business. Why do I want $1 million business? because my ego wants $1 million business, because I want to be a big shot, because I want XYZ. And here's what's funny. I don't have $1 million business. I have a $250,000 a year business, and I have everything I want and need. And would I like more? Sure. Is my life going to be better for more? I don't know. Maybe. But I know that I have vitality and love for my work and way more than enough money. And the fact is, I get to do my work as a coach. If there's a possibility for me to create more revenue while still really being in the work. So this is the other thing. Some people's passion is in building a business. I have another client that's doing a big business incubator through a university. It's a big deal. And she is one of the only people in there that is not trying to build a business for the purpose of selling a business. And there's a whole new wave of people who build a business to be doing work they love and earning money. And so I just want you, if you're watching or listening, I want you to check in about your values and priorities, and valuing money first is not a problem if that's your true value. If money is important to you, but the work is more important to you, focus on the work and it will motivate you to make the money. As you set your goals, if you set goals, I have long got away from specific goals because I'm the kind of person that when I focus on the specifics, I feel constriction, right? What I value is essence. I like the essence to show up in form, but I've learned that the form always shows up better than I can predict it. And so just a second, I'm looking in my journal. I created an excitement list, a focus list. What do I want to focus? Now, here's the thing. Please know, I check my business numbers. I have a P&L. I have a lot of math equations behind my business. So I am not telling anybody, just focus on the essence and you'll build a business. I am saying that by focusing on the essence and the work, it causes me to want to know my numbers, instead of knowing my numbers to grow my numbers. It is so easy to sell something that you are passionately in love with. It is so easy, as Christina Berkeley said in her post yesterday on Instagram, it is so easy for all the marketing to come up when you are energized and made alive by the work that you are in love with. And it's funny. So the other thing I did is I paid attention to some of my role models, women in business, some men, mostly some men. Some of the men are dead now, but the women I look up to in business have never once mentioned their revenue. I don't know what their revenue is. I know what their passion for their work is. And I can see by looking at their organizations and how many staff members, what their revenue might be based on my business knowledge of how you sort those things out. So the women that I look at, I know have 7-figure businesses, maybe even 8-figure businesses, multi-8-figure businesses. And what I see is their passion for the work. And maybe this will help reinvigorate your wood if it's wet. For those of you that the math is not primary, that the essence and the work is primary. For me, the work, leading with the work, does the math equation. And then for some people, they set up a system and a mathematical goal, and then they fill it in with the work. And be sure, if you're hiring a coach to build a 7-figure business, that you actually need the how-to, because that's all you're going to get. If that's all you need, great. It's so sexy to grab the dollar bill marketing because it makes parts of our brain think all of our problems will be solved. And for those of you that this doesn't resonate, that's okay. I'm not saying your way is wrong. I'm saying your way is wrong for some of us. It's wrong for us. When I focus on building a 7-figure business, I ain't going to build a 7-figure business. Thank you. I appreciate the validation because Christina, I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes, it helps me to not be alone. I need to be in rooms with colleagues and peers who love money, but love their work, and their work is what makes them alive and offering and selling to the world. And how fun is it that we have money? I'm all about celebrating. Y'all, I'm installing my pool next May. I'm going to celebrate my fucking pool. I'm going to brag about I created the money to have a $50,000 pool plus $10,000 in landscaping put in my fucking backyard. I didn't do that through setting a money goal. I did that through finding 7 people that needed and wanted the work that I'm in love with. Now, here's the interesting part, and I see some other names, Shelley McNamara, another amazing coach, y'all. So if you're looking for coaches that want to help you really develop the essence in a way that the outcome of developing the essence is building the business. Okay, now here's the other thing. I am not speaking to brand new people. If you are brand new and do not have sales skills, go coach with somebody that teaches sales skills. Okay, my clients are growth and achievement. So 5 years in the business to 35 years in the business. My clients are not brand new. I moved on from that years ago. My clients know how to sell their offering. They know how to, they're just not worried about all that other stuff. My highest paying clients the only business issues they bring are usually boundary conversations and leadership management questions. It's never, how do I make more money? Never. And what's funny is when they're stressed and falling off in the world and not feeling clear about money, when we help them remember what they love about their work, the clarity comes. And the clarity for the work and for the money comes. I created a 2022 excitement list. What am I excited about? And when I think about this, I have created more for my business. I have gotten more accomplished behind the scenes and the front of scenes in the last 4 days from this one list. And do you know there is not a to-do on this list? My excitement list, and I'm going to read it to you because I'm excited. The first thing I wrote was the pool and the landscape and I'm on so we're getting a fiberglass pools through Aqua Pools here in Texas. And I'm in a group of people all over the country that are having fiberglass pools put in. And so every single day I see somebody from around the world who's been waiting 9-10 months for their pool, and they share the process and they share their builders and they share their tools. I'm in this community of people and I just can't wait for this pool. My husband totally doesn't want it. But I go out into my backyard and I'm like, I cannot wait to do coaching calls from the poolside again. I cannot wait to I'm excited about the umbrella holders in the cement for my pool. I'm envisioning my landscape. I'm excited about my Las Vegas Adele birthday bash. I don't know why. I'm not a Vegas person, but I am a Vegas person if 50 to 100 of my favorite people are there. So I'm going to have a birthday party in Las Vegas. I'm going to try to get Adele tickets, but Adele or not, I'm having a birthday party in Vegas. I'm excited about the groups that I have. I'm excited. I love my membership program. I was looking at this coach and it was like, I have a 4-step formula and this is what you need to build. And I was like, I don't need any of that. I have all that set up. I have a community. I have my marketing. I have my $333 a month coaching community. And it is every single day, it's getting the right aligned kind of business owners, the people who want to participate, engage in their own fucking lives, that are already experienced business owners. And then I have the 7 women that just want a little bit more intimate group, and they pay a whole lot more for that intimate group. I don't need anything else, even if I want to leverage it to $1 million. And so I just focus on loving the people I have and inviting new people. So I'm excited about having 75 members in my membership. I'm excited about mastering internal family systems. I cannot wait to get on that fucking training list. It's a shit show right now. There's like 11,000 people for 30 spots every time they open up. And I'm not waiting for that to feel valid in doing this work. I've had a lot of study. I'm still studying. I am excited about understanding the language of emotions and embodiment. I know intellectually emotions, but I am learning what information they have for me, and I am already starting to teach my clients, like literally going, hey, I'm learning this. Come on, let's go. I told him yesterday, I said, I'm not an expert in this. Do you need an expert? If not, let's go learn together. I'm excited about in-person gatherings. Sweet Jesus Christ, I need some in-person gatherings. I am an introvert, but I do not do isolation well. Normally Las Vegas is not going to be my thing because I want to be in rooms full of people that I know and love. In-person gatherings, mine, other people's. I want to go to some other people. Are you having gatherings? Because I want to come. I'm excited about sharing my heart and showing my work. I'm excited about offering my services. I'm excited about helping business owners be more human and whole for better life and better work. I'm excited about art and creativity. And it was interesting because recently I tried to make myself, I thought, I should be excited about big art. And I used to paint really big. And I have all these paintings in my office, and I have all my acrylic paints, and I used to do all this slinging paint. And right now, you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about my watercolor palette and this dot journal. It is giving me so much joy. I'm excited about decorating my home. And what I mean by that is really painting like 4 walls and repairing the mismatched touch-up paint. I'm excited about painting the interior of my house slowly over the next couple of years. I am excited about walking, rowing, and drinking water. I am finally to the place on my rowing machine where it does not hurt my back. My husband literally will say, you only did it 5 minutes. I'm like, that's all my back can handle. I am going so slow with my walking and my rowing. I'm excited about finally surrendering to the fact that there is no fast fix for the movement and mobility that I would like to have. Nowhere on here is a financial number. Part of it is because I know that I'll make plenty of money. I know that I'll make plenty of money. And actually, as I focus on the work and the joy, I have more energy to do the things. I actually love to do the things. I love the visibility. I love the marketing. It doesn't feel like laborsome. I have more energy for that. I have more energy and clarity to share with my team members that help me. That may or may not build me a 7-figure business. So just a little idea, play with, as you put something down on your goals or your intentions or whatever, test it in your body. Test it in, I get that having $1 million of income might bring excitement. And then what? Is it sustainable? And so you might be really excited, but after a while, if the only focus is to build $1 million, once you've earned the $1 million, you're going to be like, now what? You're going to be nexting yourself. So please set your goals based on excitement and creativity and joy and not performance. And God bless you, performance people. I get jealous of you. And when the information my jealousy has for me is so wise. My jealousy says, you're focusing on the $1 million, you're not focusing on what you love. And focusing on what you love focusing me on what I love has already made me multiple millions of dollars. So that's what I wanted to share, a business building focus check. You're allowed to have both, but which one is your priority? Which one is your North Star? And for me, my North Star is the work that I love. My mentors, my mentors never, their work, they've built the businesses and they're helping and serving people. And I know there's money involved, but money is not the focus. Money is the byproduct of the service. No, what do you think? What's your focus? What's on your excitement list? What's something you could get really excited about learning, delivering, teaching, coaching, creating, selling? I'll finish with this story. I just had this memory. When I was in college, my senior year in college here in Austin, Texas, I worked for Harold's Outlet. Harold's was a Houston fancy pants clothing store. Like if you look up Harold's clothing, I can't believe I wore Harold's clothing. It's so not me. But I guess it was me at the time. I worked at Harold's and I remember being interviewed for Harold's. And this woman asked me to sell in the interview process. She said, "Hey, could you sell this pen?" And she handed me one of those real cheap plastic blue Bic pens. You know, the kind that's clear and the kind that people chew on the cap, right? They're the kind of cheap ass pens you had in high school and college. And I'm a pen connoisseur. I know, Shelley, right? Look up Harold's. It's an Oklahoma, Texas, Southern. That's how we dressed up down here. That's how we dress up. That's still how people dress up down here. Except for Harold's doesn't exist anymore. They tore it down and built an office building. But I worked at Harold's Outlet. Got great clothing deals. Anyway, so she asked me to sell her this pen. And I looked at that pen and I was like, I'm not selling you that pen. That pen is a piece of shit, but I am going to sell you this pen. And I opened up my purse and genuinely, I pulled out a pen and I was like, let me show you this pen. First of all, put it on and use it in comparison to your other pen. And she just looked at me like I was crazy, but she's like, damn girl, you got the job. And to this day, I still sell the same way. I went to another coach's website, and it's actually somebody like it's the coach of somebody I'm really enjoying following right now. And I love her vibe and essence. And someone said, "Hey, this is her coach." And the coach was like, "I can sell anything to anybody." I believe that too. I could sell anything to anybody too. And I don't want to. I do not want to sell you the shitty Bic pen unless that's exactly what you need. But if you're going to be writing love letters or journaling in something that has heart and soul, please let me help you pick out a pen. It might cost you $11 instead of 98 cents. And I can tell you what the best use for your 98-cent pens are. Is your focus? What's your focus? I'm going to read this statement one last time to close this out. This is just me, but I want to model something that some of my people really might need to hold more firmly, because you will be swayed, because in all your social media feeds are going to be the temptation to go towards this. I, Allison Crow, am not passionate about building a 7-figure business. Would I love to grow my income and wealth? Absolutely. Do I believe it's possible? Is it desirable? Of course. I think it'll be fun. I am passionate about coaching emotional sovereignty, coaching business leaders, emotional sovereignty, self-trust, self-leadership, holy humanness, in building better life and better work. And when I focus on that, my millions have already come. You check what works for you and make sure that what you're focusing on is in line with your values, not in line with your wounds. If it is there to try to prove and try to make you feel good enough, there is nothing that will ever heal those wounds in a goal. So create from your joy, your love, your interest, your values, instead of from your needing to prove yourself. Peace out. Thank you to those who are, especially those of you who are here live with me, and to those of you who will be listening on the podcast. If anybody wants to come and experience a Solis coaching session, we have one on Monday that I'm opening. So for the podcast, y'all will have missed it. This won't be published on the podcast till later. I don't know when the next one will be. I don't have a system for that. I do it based on when I feel in love with sharing it with the public. But on Monday at 10 Central, at 11, my calls are from 11 to 12:30 Central on Mondays and Thursdays. So on Monday, we're going to have a business-focused group coaching session. And we are not going to be talking about how to build a seven-figure business, but it is this emotional work, this inner work, this essence, this energy, and I'm opening up to the public. So there will be, like, if this is a fit for you and you want to talk about joining, great. If not, that's okay. Come be in the group, in the energy. Come get your spark back on and your joy back on, and come be in a room where you can remember that there are other people like you building a heart-centered and authentic business. That, it'll be fun when it makes $1 million, but that's not the focus. Peace out, y'all. See you soon. Oh, and if you want to join that, just reach out to me. If you're seeing me live, if you reach out to me and I'll give you the link. There's a way to get in and get the Zoom details, because we're not posting that publicly. Peace out, y'all. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode and want to dive deeper, come check out the Solis Self-Leadership Society. It's my online coaching membership community, a networking community, a place to belong, and a place where you can be coached by me in life and business. We dive deep into the practices of both being and doing that help us create our unique version of soulful success. It's a special community of small business owners just like you, and it's where I show up and give my clients personal support at an accessible fee. Check it out at www.coachwithallison.com. As always, thanks for listening, and I want to give a special shout out to Elise Rich from Wide Awake Recordings for her sound production each week on my episodes, especially the car episodes, and for her music composition for my intro and outro. This show is sponsored by my 3 dogs, Leroy Brown, Clementine, and Rocky Potato. They're here to remind you to consider adopting when you get your next pet. More is not better. Better is better.